knowledge. So like in the previous two tutorials, I showed you how you can install Django on your local machine, as well as how you can initialize the Django project as well as the Django app. So if you have any doubt regarding that, you can please refer to those two videos. And in the second video, I showed you how you can initialize a virtual environment in your project, what was the importance of virtual environment as well, and how you can create a requirements.txt file as well. So that was very important. I would like to show you one thing, that from now we are going to work on VS Code, and this is my project structure, and I would like to show you a graphical view of my project as well. So this is my project with the name My First Project. I have an app named My First App, and I have created my env, and here you can see I have activated my virtual environment variable, and I have created a requirements.txt file as well. So if you have any doubts regarding this, and if this thing seems new to you, so you can refer to my previous two videos. So what I'm going to show you, so this is going to be very interesting tutorial. From now we are going to be learning this is going to be very hands-on tutorial, so and it's going to be very interesting also. So what I'm going to show is that first we would define a URL scheme, and then we will generate a response to it. So what we need to do is, I would like to have a brief overview of my structure as well. So this is, I'm inside my first project folder. So there are various files with the extension .py files. So one of the important files here is url.py file. So like in this tutorial, we are going to be working with this file. So before, and the second file is settings.py file. So first thing you need to do is move to your settings.py file, and inside the installed apps, you have to mention the app you have created with the name. Like this is the app which I made, so you have to mention your app name inside settings.py file, My First App. Okay, and now what I'm telling you, the second thing you need to do is like there is a urls.py file in this directory. So what you need to do is create another url.py file. So like this is, there are two directories, My First Project. So there is already urls.py file inside my project directory, because I told you that inside a single Django project there can be multiple apps. So you need to create a urls.py file for this app as well. So what you need to do, click here, new file, urls.py. So I have created this file. And now what I'm going to tell you, that there are now two urls.py file. One is inside my directory My First App, and one is inside my directory My First Project. So I would also have a graphical view to it. So I'm inside my first project folder, and there is already a urls.py file inside it, and now there is a urls.py file in this folder as well. Okay, so you can see that now there are two urls.py file. One is inside this folder and one is inside this folder. So what I need to mention my Django project, that you need to include urls.py file which is inside my folder called My First App. So first you need to include this, you would type here include, and second path include, and you have to mention here My First app.urls. So this is that I mentioned that under the root directory you have to include My First app.urls. So this looks pretty fine. Now I would define the URLs here. So from there you can use the first line. You need to add this from Django.urls import path. So I would move to here from Django.urls import path, and then you need to define a list of URL patterns. Okay, so this looks pretty same as this also, because here you can see they have included this from Django.urls import path as well, and URL patterns is the list. So this looks pretty fine here. Now I would define the first path to be this, but before I want to tell you that the URL will only work when there is a function call defined to that particular URL. So for that, what you need to do is, for you, what I'm going to tell you, you need to add this line because this url.py is present here. So you would type from current directory import views. So what is the importance of these two lines is that you have to create your views here. So what they mean by is that for this particular URL you have to mention a function call. So I would do one thing, that I would mention this path and call views dot my function call. Okay, and I would name this as index. So index is used to refer the path name. So I would tell you the importance of an index. Sorry, I would tell you the importance of name, why we mention names, and when they are used, when we and how can we use them in a blade, how can we use them in the templates. Okay, so what I'm telling you, that this path to call views.myFunction call, this could be any function name with the name, and I have given this name, URL as a specific name called index. Okay, so now you would move to views.py file and define a function myFunction call, and this takes a request as a parameter. So this you have to define this because you are making a request to this function call. And now to generate a response, what you need to type is you need to import there are two types of responses. One is HTTP response and another is JSON response. So what you need to type is from Django.http import HTTP response as well as JSON response. So I think now it should work pretty fine, and I would generate a response, return HTTP response of hello world. So now I would first have a quick recap of this, that I have first included url.py file. First thing I did is include my app inside this. Then I have included my first app.url inside my url.py file of my first project. Then I mentioned this path and I made a function call to this path using the views file, because in the views.py file you mentioned your function call. So I meant my function call and I named this particular URL as index, and inside my first function call I generated a HTTP response. So I think this should work fine now. I would say python manage.py run server. So this should work fine. Okay, the server has started. So I would okay, yeah, this looks pretty good. So you can see because I didn't mention I didn't mention any word here, so it mentioned as a root directory. So when I passed on this URL, when I called my URL, this particular URL, the root directory, so it called my function call inside my views.py file, and when I went to the views.py file, so it had a request as a parameter and it generated HTTP response of this hello world. So this was the first thing. Now what you can do, you can pass parameters as well. So what you need to do, I will show you one thing for sure. Another thing, what you can do is you can copy this line and you can name this as about, and you can call this my function about, and you can give this as about. Okay, and now I'm making a path called about and views.myFunction about. So it says my first app.views has no attribute my function about, so I need to define that. So I would define this as well. Okay, for a quick overview, I would copy this and I would generate about response. Okay, and I would now call this function my function about. So what I did here is I made a request to slash about from my root directory, and it called my function about, and I gave this URL a particular name about, and it went to use.py file and called this particular function, and I would go back to my server. So right now on the root it is generating hello world, but as soon as I made a request to the about page, so it says about response. So this is pretty good. So now you can understand the theory. So you can also do one thing. Now what you can do is copy this line as well and name this as add my function, or you can add int, or you can save this simply as use.add. Now I am telling this route what I can mention showed you, like you can also pass parameters as well. So to pass the integer, I would type like this. So I would move back to this and type int, like you have to mention the int, then a colon, then age. So this is going to be int a, then int b. Okay, and now I have to define the views.add. So I would go to def add. Now the first parameter is going to be request. The second parameter is going to the integer which I'm taking, which was suppose I'm here naming as x, or you can for simplicity use a, then b. So what you need to do is return HTTP response of a plus b. So I think it should work now. Now what I'm telling you to add two integers. The first one is going to be 1 and second one is going to be 2. So it should work. Yeah, now it has given me two integers of 1 and 2, and it return an HTTP response with an output 3. The one thing I wanted to show you, will this work if I change this a comma b to x comma y? X plus y. So this is all a part of learning process. So I should make sure the server is running. Yes, the server is running. So first thing is I would move to this. Yeah, it's working. Now I would move to this about. Yes, working. Now I would move to add part. Add 4, 5. So this doesn't work. Okay. So why this didn't work? Because I had mentioned here in the urls.py file that I'm going to get a as a parameter, then b as a parameter. So what I need to mention here, that inside my views.py file I had to strictly mention this as a comma b. So make sure you be careful about this. Now I will restart the server and then refresh this page. Now this works because I wanted to make sure, because this that inside I mentioned here as a and inside mentioned here as b, so the input parameters to my request part would be a comma b as well. So then I generated HTTP response of a plus b. Okay, so this was look good. Now the second thing you need to do, you create a function URL. So I would quickly create this path intro. The first matter is going to string name, and the second one is going to be an int with an age, and I would call views.intro with the particular name to this URL as intro. So this looks good. So this would throw, because I have not defined intro in my views.py file, so I would move back to my, so this time I'm going to show you a JSON response. Define intro as a function, taking first parameter as request, the second as name. So let me check what I have defined first. So I have defined name as first, then age as second. The name is going to be first and age is going to be second. Now I would define return a JSON response. So to generate a JSON response, I need to define a dictionary. So dictionaries are basically key value pairs. So could be my dictionary is going to be a variable. So with this name is going to be name here, and age, sorry, age is going to be an age here, and I would return a JSON response here. So I wanted to show you the difference between the JSON response. So so throw me the error because I think it's an because I have defined views.intro. Now it should work particularly fine. Now it has started. So what I'm showing you, I would move to intro, name as Jack, and the age as 25. So will this work? So yeah, here you can see that now it returned me a JSON response, and I'm showing you particular like here it shows that this is a JSON response with the name and age, and for the you can show the raw data as well. So this is this shows you how a JSON object looks like, and in the JSON format of just for you can hear it that the name is Jack and the age is 25, and this is a JSON object. So like in this way you can create more URLs. So basically here I covered the HTTP response as well as the JSON response. So to generate any, if we generate a request via a URL, so we generate a response to it as well. So like this is a, so thank you guys, thank you so much. So